What is up, Titans fans? Welcome to a brand new trailer breakdown video, and this video, or should I say the trailer, is very spoilery. I do want to put that out there. So spoilery, in fact, that it does give away things that I guess some may argue is obvious to some, but in all honesty here, in my opinion, I don't think a lot of people necessarily would have known for themselves until, I guess, revealed in the episode with certain things that we're going to dig into. So I do get it in one way. Quite often the show outsources this work to different companies to mishmash up a certain trailer, and the people who edit these trailers, if they're outsourced to certain places, obviously I can't confirm anything here, but they try and go really flashy with a trailer like this. So in one way they're badass, but in another way they don't usually consider at all, in fact, all that much of what they're putting into the trailer that could be spoilery. They just want to make the best mashup that can pull you in at the expense of giving some things away. So full spoiler warning. Due to popular demand, I'm going to break this down anyway because at the end of the day, a lot of fans are like, I'm going to watch it anyway. So for those of you who are like that, let's get into these details. And also a funny thing is, there's some things in here that I haven't even seen from the 5 episodes I've watched. So I'm guessing a bit of footage from this trailer and the featurette, of which we're going to toss some stuff into the breakdown, I'm guessing are from episode 6. And just to disclaim this as well, make it super transparent, I'll only be breaking this down with regards to what this new trailer shows us, combined with some comic book knowledge I have on the Church of Blood and whatnot, Mother Mayhem, Trigon. I won't be giving anything directly away from what I've seen myself from watching episodes 1 to, well, I guess 3 to 5 of what you haven't seen. So would always appreciate you to hit that like button, helps me out a ton. Just takes 2 seconds to click that little thumbs up. So at the very beginning of the trailer, it picks up in the Temple of Azarath with Mother Mayhem saying, "Great Trigon, speak to me, I'm begging you, you've forsaken me when I need you, and wait for it, it then says, or she says, I need our son," and it cuts to Sebastian's face. So right off the bat, it gives that away. Now, I am aware some people may have speculated this, but also maybe a lot of people didn't think at the same time that the mother in Mother Mayhem wasn't going to be so literal in this show. In the comics, she's usually the right-hand lady, you could say, to Brother Blood, and, you know, can give birth to potential successors to Brother Blood, so like a future Brother Blood, for example. But Titans here has literally made May Bennett, Mother Mayhem, Sebastian Sanger's actual mother, and more of the introduction to the Church of Blood for him, rather than the other way round of Brother Blood, perhaps in the comics, going to her and being like, hey, welcome to the world of the Church of Blood. So I do like what they're doing of this adaptation, but again, I did have this theory going in. I remember before I even saw the episodes, I thought, what if the mother in Mother Mayhem was actually literal? But the show definitely does use it as a reveal, but this is what I mean. In this trailer, it's like, hey, my son, I need him, then cut straight to Sebastian's face. Up next, we cut to Gar saying, ever since we got to Metropolis, strange things have been happening. And then Gar holds Raven's hand and says, can't you see it? This is when the whole world turns to red or starts to appear red. And they're taken to the same location Beast Boy woke up in the episodes that you guys have seen, with a tree in the heart of this red location and bones hanging on the branches. Beast Boy continues to say that when the blood moon is full, the world will fall to evil. So let's get into a little bit of comic book knowledge here. And just to be fully transparent, I do want to stress this. This is something I detailed and mentioned in my previous trailer breakdowns showing this location well before I saw any of the episodes, so I'm regurgitating a bit of that information, but Beast Boy is connected to the red. Just like Swamp Thing, I'm sure many of you are familiar with Swamp Thing, but if you're not, he's a DC Comics character who is connected to this elemental force, if you will, known as the Green. And that is all plant life in the universe, so it's a similar thing for Beast Boy with the animal life side of things, another energy force, the red. Now, Brother Blood in the comics is all about the red, wanting access to it, how everything with blood is connected to the red. So all the blood gathering that we're seeing in the episode so far, and this is a little bit of speculation because obviously I haven't seen the whole season, could be about honing in on accessing the red, including the Church of Blood's magic, of course, to just kind of combine into this very lethal cocktail. And of course, this would explain why Beast Boy's storyline this season is a lot more prominent, just like what fans have wanted, with of course him being connected to the red and also picking up these voices he's hearing. That's something thing is coming. And as he says here, when the blood moon is full, the world will fall to evil. And I don't know if Titans planned this. I have to assume that they did. But as seen here, on Tuesday, the Earth, Sun, and Moon will align to create a blood moon eclipse. It will be the last total lunar eclipse until 2025. I don't know where Joseph Morgan is right now, but somebody keep him inside. You have to keep him inside when this blood moon is occurring. But no, really, that's pretty cool. Like, Google it right now. You'll see tons and tons of articles on the blood moon that is currently rising right now. And it just lines up exactly with what's going on in the show. I mean, as per this teaser we just got from Beast Boy and also later from Starfire in this trailer. Now, as these clips were playing, we also see Sebastian roaring in the Temple of Azeroth, and as he screams, it's almost as if this kind of black canary sonic cry VFX is coming out of him. Perhaps this is after he's actually walked into the blood pit in the Temple of Azeroth, and more on that a little bit later. Up next, we have some very fast-paced clips playing in the trailer. So we see a snake striking at two characters. Mother Mayhem with a muzzle on her face, holding some cloth as if it's a baby with some handcuffs on. So I'm sure you can put the pieces of the puzzle together there. And then at the very end of this trailer, we see Mother Mayhem, as seen in the official trailer, on the floor with those same handcuffs as this snake approaches her. I just wanted to combine those two clips together to kind of keep it cohesive here. This is when the trailer highlights Kory quite a bit by saying that she did the queen thing. I just want to do my thing. Is that too much to ask? And in this clip, it seems like she's kind of cloaking herself with her new powers. Now, I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, as I haven't seen this. Again, I'm speculating that this is episode 6 and that this trailer just largely highlights big moments from part 1, which is 6 episodes, and then it'll come back early next year with the last 6 episodes. And in this moment, they give away again, even though I'll cut them some slack here. This is something that fans have been knowing was coming for a long time with regards to DickKory. There was even some behind the scenes photos that DickKory fans were all talking about with the red balloon when they were filming. So in this moment, we see Kory in somewhat of a vision, if you will, looking at Dick Grayson holding his and her daughter with that familiar red balloon in the background. DickKory fans, rise up. Then we hear Dick Grayson saying, don't take this on by yourself, as we see some footage of Jinx, as what we've seen in previous trailers, breaking in somewhere. He goes on to say, we're a team, we do it together, and that's when we get a cool group shot of all the Titans together, with Raven in her white hair mode. Jinx is there as well, you may have noticed, and even Sebastian is lurking there in the background in this location. Now, I know where this location is, and let's just say it's pretty cool how it all ties back to previous seasons, but that's all I can say. Then we hear Bernard say to Tim as he's in this VR experience, so no, that's not a bad CGI backdrop. He's in, like, as you can tell in the next clip, some VR training mode. Bernard says to him, I believe in you. You'll know your moment when it comes. So more Robin training there with the bow staff, and this line is a reference to Tim's eagerness, feeling like he's Anakin style, being held back by Obi-Wan a little bit, but not quite Jason Todd levels. But he will get his moment at some point this season. As I've speculated, I bet he'll get the suit towards the back half. But this is when the trailer, once again, gives away something, which I will cut a little bit of slack here as well. A kiss between Bernard and Tim. Now, I will still say, as people have noticed and have been talking about quite a lot on social media, it's still pretty strange, as I also mentioned in my episode 1 breakdown, that they're doing this. And some people have commented in my episode 1 breakdown that Tim is older than 16 in season 3, but it's true. He's 16, and we've got literal interview quotes confirming Tim Drake's age from even Jay Lycargo himself during season 3, and considering season 4 takes place in episode 1, 3 days after, the end of season 3 when they get on the bus, Tim Drake is 16 years old. So I'm not sure how old James Scully's Bernard character is supposed to be in this Titans world, because he's 30 in real life. But even then, I doubt he's playing a 16-year-old too. But moving on, this is when we hear Dick saying we're dealing with the supernatural, and that scares me. And this is when we see Connor Kent in a lot of pain, and it turns out he ends up puking a snake into this toilet here and connecting that snake to clips in previous trailers. And what we see here, that snake will provide quite a bit of trouble for the Titans in this location. Also, just connecting some scenes from later on in this trailer, we see Dick Grayson just slam down this injection into Connor's chest, and he kind of just springs to life. He also appears to have some kryptonite cuffs on there. You can tell that through the green on the cuffs. I can't really go into details about this, but just wanted to point it out there for those who may have missed that little green glow. This is when Jinx replies to Dick saying that you are way out of your league, and he says, if I was in my league, I wouldn't have tracked you down, just kind of solidifying more that, as Brenton Thwaites has said at New York Comic Con, in terms of what you guys have still yet to see, that he goes to Jinx for help in kind of navigating this occult world, identifying the thread of the Church of Blood. It's just not really a typical thing that the vigilante of Nightwing deals with. And so more along the Jinx path, this is what we've seen in previous trailers as well. They go to this prison location, they go up to Jinx, but Jinx seemingly disappears into a cloud of smoke. We also get a little power demonstration of Jinx clapping her hands, but that is when we get a clip, a very interesting clip from Titans Season 1. Now, I'm not sure how many of you realize this, but this is where we have a younger Raven, Gar, and her mother, Angela Azarath, who was locked away in Agnew's asylum, and this clip seems to be when the Titans blew that up, if you remember, I think around the time when Dick burned his Robin suit. But that's all I'll say about this scene that they tease, but any Titans fan who's watched Season 1 and remembers quite a bit of it will know that this is from that. This is when we see Mother Mayhem holding the staff in the Temple of Azarath, with this character here saying it's time to bring Sebastian to his rightful place. But then, in a few scenes time in this trailer, we see Mother Mayhem kill this woman with a knife, and it's just like, why, trailer? Why did you show this? I don't understand, because, you know, without giving too much away, that's not exactly what happens to this woman straight away. There's a bit of time spent with her. So the fact that you guys have seen this now, it's just like, oh, you know what's going to happen to her as soon as she enters the story. And it's not like it's an absolute mind-blowing thing that happens, but still, it's just unnecessary is the word to use. Immediately after that line from that new character you guys haven't quite met yet, we see Sebastian roaring, absolutely roaring before the blood pit, possibly linked to the clip we went over earlier, likely before he goes into the blood pit. Perhaps this is all new for me because I haven't seen that. Now this is when we see May Bennett looking a little bit different, being given this card, and on the back of the card it says Azarath, Metreon, and Zinthos, and she seems to be in a different period of time, I guess you could say, from her visual look compared to the kind of witchy look you see her in present day episodes. So you can count on some flashbacks here to give some context to her story as to just how May Bennett got to the position of Mother Mayhem, and then getting up until the point that you guys have just seen last week in kicking the Titans' asses. Now once again, in true trailer fashion, we get a few more clips that go very, very, very fast, and we see Starfire here using her powers in the Temple of Azarath. Yet again, another scene I haven't seen. I can only identify this because there's a flaming torch in the background, so you can bet your ass that this is in the temple. Now, just looking at all of this potential episode 6 footage, it looks like it will be leaving off on quite a banger episode for us to talk about and do extra speculation videos over the Christmas period into the new year. So make sure you are subscribed for bonus Titans content. And when I say bonus Titans content, I've got some other very, very, very interesting stuff planned with very, very interesting people. And since we just went over the card of a slightly different looking May Bennett saying Azarath, Metreon, and Zinthos, this is when we see May Bennett with Sebastian in this room as he says Metreon. And then just as he's about to complete the words, it cuts to a whole different scene where he's just about to finish the word Zinthos, but that is when Raven stops him halfway through that word saying no. So we're going to get quite a few scenes between Raven and Sebastian, which, you know, what I'll tease is pretty interesting stuff. This is when we hear a new voice, and I can't give too much away from this, but it's quite a particularly interesting voice to Corey's storyline this season, saying, if you don't kill him now, he will bring the end of days. And this is all over a clip of Sebastian in the Temple of Azarath, which is when we really interestingly see Raven pop a new red looking glow on her forehead in place of her missing chakra gem. And this is in the same location as earlier of where I mentioned Starfire was glowing in her new power. So these aren't scenes that I have seen, but it's leading me to believe, again, it's likely in episode 6, and considering they're both using powers here, perhaps they're trying to connect to something. Maybe they can connect to it since Sebastian might have gone into the blood pit at this point, and thus has connected himself to this magic world and the red. But honestly, with regards to the context of this scene of Raven having a new glow on her forehead, which blatantly isn't a chakra gem, Starfire trying to glow, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. And I'm not sure how Raven even accessed accesses this somewhat third eye of hers, other than my speculation that it occurs when Sebastian somewhat rises with the whole promotion of he will rise, because after all, she is somewhat connected to him. She doesn't have a chakra gem, but after maybe he connects to a certain otherworldly kind of thing, then maybe it will connect with her as well. Maybe Kory is using her new powers to have some kind of insight to that at the same time. This is when we see Gar sit up from this little kind of container of orangey water, drenched in it while in his suit. And let's just say that this is quite an interesting moment for Gar in this particular episode. And up next, we get to see a similar shot to what we saw in the official trailer, and that is of Deathstroke. Now, all I want to say here is don't get massively overhyped so you don't feel underwhelmed when you see this happen in this episode. Please don't take this as me putting a downer on your anticipation or experience already, but it's just I don't want anyone thinking that Deathstroke and the way they wrote him reappearing, if you will, is going to be like a main villain in the season and have so much of a larger role. I would say temper your expectations there. One really cool part of this trailer, and again, I don't think this was necessary to show at all, would have just been cool seeing this in the episode, despite the speculations that we've already got into over seeing Joshua Orpin at New York Comic Con shave his hair, and that would definitely not be a wig because Joshua Orpin's Connor Kent doesn't use a wig for his short Superboy hair. But either way, we hear that line of, it's like the Lex side is taking over. Then we see, as a lot of us speculated, that Connor is shaving his head, Kryptonian style, and since scissors would break his hair, since, you know, Kryptonian strength of the hair follicles would just rupture any blade, well, he has to reflect the heat vision of this smashed piece of glass he takes back onto his hair to make himself go bald. So, since the line says it's like the Lex side is taking over, well, yeah, you can somewhat count on a new direction for Superboy, I'm guessing from episode 6 onwards, because I haven't seen this scene. And I'm not sure how long it will last, but I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this explored. I just hope that for Connor's sake, being a Kryptonian, that heat visioning off your own hair, like at the follicle level, doesn't permanently ruin your Kryptonian hair follicles, because then I guess he would be stuck bald forever. But what I am dying to know is what really propels him down this story, because without giving anything away from the 5 episodes I've seen, you know, after Lex dies and, you know, now we've seen him come out, and if anything, after seeing those images from Arthur Holmwood and what he was up to, it was like, I heard terrible things about Lex, but I didn't think he would go to this length of things. So after all of that, what would inspire him to be in the image of his own father in a literal sense? In this scene, I believe we see Mother Mayhem putting Raven's soul self, if you will, into this kind of gem, if you will, this crystallized thing in the Temple of Azarath, as after all we saw her take her soul self at the end of the most recent episode after she kicked all the Titans' asses. Also, we get a Starfire versus Mother Mayhem moment in this diner here, a very familiar diner, I might add. Then we see Superboy getting smacked with some magic and Sebastian watching in the background, and then we see Kory looking at the moon saying, when the red moon fills the sky. Once again, kind of, I guess, lending towards that larger apprehension or visiony storyline that Beast Boy is also cottoning on to. And one of the last clips in the trailer, although the very last one, is of Dick and Kory's daughter, so I guess they knew what they were doing there for the DickKory fans with that being the last shot. But right before that, we see Joseph Morgan's Sebastian Sanger sinking into the Temple of Azarath's pit of blood, likely the very moment he will ascend or rise, if you will. Now, pairing this with that scene in the Welcome to Metropolis featurette, in the behind the scenes, we see Anna talking about how this set is a hellish place to be in. It has this hole in the center of the stage that just kind of looks like a cauldron of hell. It's where Brother Blood goes into and comes out dripping. So I can't wait to see this moment. Again, I haven't seen it, so I'm guessing it's going to be around about the time of episode 6, where season 4 wants to leave off on this really cool note, and then we have to wait throughout the Christmas period, likely a bit of January, possibly February, to see the story continue from there on out, with Sebastian truly taking the plunge, excuse the pun there, into the Brother Blood mode. And the back half will likely be that really pack-a-punch, episode-to-episode moment for the season where it will go out quite strongly, whereas right now it's a bit more of a slow burner. So I think that's everything I wanted to say about this trailer. Again, I think it was unnecessarily too spoilery, but hey, it's out there now. Plenty of you have been asking me to give my thoughts about it. It's limited as they can be, given the episodes I have seen, but it's kind of cool that since so many of you indulge in these spoilers, that I can also talk about this with footage that I haven't seen. So let me know your thoughts. Any theories that you have, I would love to know about those, given that you guys have still got a few episodes to catch up into where I'm at. But also, any theories you have for some of the episode 6 footage that I haven't even seen. Gotta be reading every single comment. Can't wait to see what you guys say. If you want to just support the channel, leaving off on this video, and if you got this far especially, would always appreciate a like. As usual, guys, consider subscribing. Consider the super thanks button, which is going the extra mile of support. Of course, if you want to stay a bit more connected to me, I'm most active on Twitter. I have an Instagram, a Discord server where you can talk about Titans in the Titans channel that we have there with other members of the Titans community. But I'm going to love you and leave you now, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you fellow Titans in the next video. Goodbye.